me, okay? So when I started out, normal human being, we all tend to judge. I tend to judge. You know, I look at the person and say, okay. What I don't like is very egoistic kind of people, and then we're very loud, and then all they want to do is stroke their ego. They say nice things about you. I always, you know, so we judge, right? When we start out, we are all human beings. But when I came to EO, when I learned about forum, when we shared our lifelines, and then when I see, this is what makes Sri Sri. You know what I mean? All our past comes into play to shape who we are today, right? But once we understand what makes you take who you are, what makes you who you are today, suddenly you see, Laura, oh my goodness, you've gone through so much. And the fact that who you are today, you are a beautiful person, and then you have a good heart. Because of now that I know what you've been through and all that, you see a person very differently. Because all I saw was facades. But when you go into forum, you see what's inside here. And then it's suddenly, oh my goodness, I can relate to you, you're my brother, because you've been through exactly what I've been through. And then all the walls break down. And the respect will come. Because you hear their stories. Because you hear what they had to overcome. You hear what they had to do.
And I guess to share the reason why I felt a lot of benefit, there's also a second training where when you become the kind of like the moderator of the group, you have moderators training, which is a little bit more deeper. One of the things that is also just purely technical is that, you know, entrepreneurs are very, very busy. They lead very, very busy lives, right? For them to take 5 hours away from their job or work or family, that's a lot of sacrifice. So in order to make that 5 hours very, very efficient and very meaningful, that's the reason why when everybody is forum trained, right, everybody's on the same page. Then that meeting becomes very productive, and everybody walk away from the meeting with the take-home value that they can take back to their business, take back to their family. And that's one of the primary reasons why the first thing as an EO member you would do is to have forum training, because that's the number one benefit. Everything else that happens at EO, but a lot of people, there are some members who say, I only do forum. I don't attend universities, I don't do, you know, I only do forum. And that is fine too, right? Because they feel that that's the benefit that they have, right? As they get deeper into it, they feel that they would use the forum as a platform for them to grow their business and themselves. Yeah.
When I did the training in Pakistan, they wanted a female trainer because they didn't allow a guy to spend the whole day with their wives. So that was the opportunity I got. But the challenge was speaking to the guys. I didn't know whether, you know, I would garner the respect culturally. But they were very great gentlemen, and you know, when I hear their stories, when we shared, when in forum training, we already start the experience. So when I hear, it's like so much in common, and they were perfect gentlemen. But what was interesting is, at the social, I couldn't sit with the guys. He had to be my EO representative and talk to the prospects and talk to the future members, because the men would sit in a different room or different part of the table. So I was sitting with the spouses. But after I did the training with the spouses, when they say, now I understand what it means, why he can't tell me anything, and why he has to commit to this 4 hours, and why he does the retreat. And what was encouraging is the group of spouses who've gone through the training. They decided, we want this for ourselves. So they stood up, a moderator among themselves stood up, volunteered herself. I'll moderate the group for now, and we'll get this going, so that not only the member get the benefits of this support, but the spouses themselves want to be supported in the same way.
I just wanted to share a story. Usually, when you start off with your forum, you do something called a lifeline. The lifeline is where from the time you were born to where you are today, you just make a line and put on all your high points and low points. That's a fantastic exercise that we do, and we keep it extremely confidential because you are actually sharing. My lowest moment is this and highest moment is this. Could be anything, personal, family, business. And I tell you how it helped me in my own business. and you know everybody from their lifeline. And when you see a lifeline in that perspective, you know there's a pattern in which every individual behaves. And when you are in a forum, because everybody in your forum is aware of your pattern of thinking, they are the ones, and they are reviewing it in a way every month. They know you tell good credit story. Go show us the revenue. I mean, in a way, your board is never going to ask you such questions. And this is without conflict, in confidence, and no interest in your business. The interest is in you as an individual. 2008, we got an investor on board. I was away in London. The guy almost made me sign some papers and stole the company. And I wasn't aware. Something happened in one of the forum meetings. One of my forum buddies said, stop. Something is not happening right in your business. I got a paper from the registrar of companies, something like that happened. He said, you see, you are not in country then. He saw the date and whatever, and he was the one who was analyzing my entire pattern. He said, you are never going into details. During that time, you are away because you missed a forum meeting. How could you sign that letter? And using his cloud, he managed to get the papers from the registrar of companies, and then he said, this has been forged.
Wow, really?
And I had no clue what's going on there. And I was under tremendous stress. Every 3 hours, we used to have a huddle. Huddle is like everybody on a call saying, what's up? They said, nothing doing, you got to arrange the money, first buy him out. At 3 a.m., my forum guys came into my house with a bag with $1.5 million in it.
Wow.
I said, now, nothing. You just go push this bag, get the company back, we'll figure it out. Now, why would anybody do that for you? So the key message I wanted to share is that, we are all players. We are busy running. We don't pause, reflect, and think. When you sit in a forum in a very structured way, as Steve said, you're forced to think what happened in the last 30 days in your business, in your family, in your personal life, what is happening in the next 30 days. So you see that window. And as I'm hearing to the update, I know the pattern in which Steve is behaving or Rosemary is doing or any of us. So that's a fantastic place. And the good thing is there is no interest in your business, so you don't care.
Just now your experience, a small example of a forum exercise. Like just now we went around the room and asked for your one word. Now why that is actually put in is because we're all busy, or maybe some of us woke up late, or some had a late night. As we walk in through that door, that one word actually tap your pulse of how you're feeling now, right? Now chances are, just now you all shared your one word open just now. Imagine afterwards, as we finish this meeting or this lunch, we all have a one word close. You would, chances are, choose a different word, right? Because of our experience here, right? So why that simple exercise is very effective is, imagine you're an entrepreneur, you're busy running on your engine, trying to get things going in your office, and then all of a sudden you have to attend your forum meeting. Now as you attend your forum meeting, you're all flustered because maybe something went wrong with your company in the office or something like that. We tap that one word. Then your forum members feel how you feel. They know how you feel. You're maybe rushed or you feel tired, So that's actually just a small example of what forum experience is. Yeah? And you can try it with your family, or even with it freaks out your staff in the office when you do that. One day you just open your office, go like, give me your one word, right? It works wonders. Okay, then your top management team or even your peers, how they feel as they step into the meeting.
And
right?
what you need to do.
And what you need to do.
To get to
Maybe 3 of the guys says, I'm frustrated. That can be a topic of how you get it started, because you want to feel that they're part of your management team. You're there to help to get them going, right? So that's just a small example of something that you learn in EO that you can transplant into your company. We have had a lot of our friends practice forum with their management team. Amazing results. And there's something that they learned from the EO side. They says, okay, you can do it. Okay. Of course, some went off the deep end and used forum in their family. That's interesting too. Okay, it's
Well, we
very
have
interesting.
Had family business forums in
Yeah.
one generation. That
Yeah.
means you do this with your the same generation. Let's we talk about EMP, the executive program, 3 years. So business tools. So in Asia we have Taipan. So we also have balanced business tools that are available to you out there, which they really focus you, commit you, have accountability group, correct? Right, and he has classmates that he has meet every year, and they keep in check with one another. Have you done this? Have you reached this? And now with Mayo, we have health goals. So we help each other do our physicals. And then when we say we need to get rid of some weight, we actually do the mountain climbing. Now we have the biking. So we are doing a marathon biking, easy, EO style, in luxury. You're welcome to come to Malaysia. We are doing cross country.
You're crazy, you can climb Mount Pulang with me in November. That's in Philippines. It's the highest peak in Philippines, in Luzon.
How high?
3,600 meters.
So it's still a small peak,
Yeah.
but they're building up.
You want to talk about the Mount Everest event?
Mount Everest, yes. So that was the Asia Bridge campus, regional events, of which the area director then was George Gang. You'll hear a lot about him. And he was saying the chapters were all, doing their own stuff, very isolated, just focus on their own chapter. He's really got all the best practices. So he already 10 countries all at once. So when he started Asia Bridge, the forum as well as the campus was to have a smaller learning event, 150 max, where we come together, do cultural immersion, once in a lifetime experience, as well as getting to know one another across the region. So this was Nepal volunteered on the fifth year to host the Asia Bridge campus. None of their members are in the Asia Bridge forum, but they were so gung-ho. They found out about the gem. So if you can't go out, bring the world to your doorstep. So that's what they did. So they volunteered to host this Asia Bridge campus. One of the once in a lifetime they wanted was to bring everybody to the top of the world. All right, and that's the base camp without the climbing. Okay, your style, without the climbing. So that was the highlight. But it was a 3-day campus. And they brought people from Sri Lanka, India, as well as their local speakers to come and did the learning. But the social events, the evening dinners, the what we call off-site events, the learning events. So we went to a monastery, and we also did Bhaktapur. Bhaktapur is a dinner in a World UNESCO Heritage Site. It's very old, people still living in it, but they kept the architecture and the city, the walled city intact. So imagine having a gala dinner in the middle of the courtyard among this city, this walled city. And then of course in the middle of the courtyard they had this temple pyramid looking thing. So when we were driven in private cars, we were already greeted with the villagers. They thought it was a Bollywood movie being filmed. Okay, because the lights were set up, everything, the red carpet were rolled out, and then there were settings, dinner table settings, and so they were curious. So when we got in, we were greeted by 3,000 villagers who lived there. And they had 200 security people kind of cordoning off the place that we were. And we walked into this, and the temple that they did, they had 600 dancers from the local villages doing entertainment, presenting their local culture, local dance, local color, local music. And that was the greeting that we got. Then they took us to another courtyard where the dinner was set up. And that was another, wow, food was presented, and we were all given costumes to wear, their national costumes. So we had to look like them. So it was amazing energy. I think you call it energy. This amazing energy. So would it be repeated? We don't know. So they did repeat it the second time because everybody who heard about it wanted to experience it. But the highlight was getting everybody to the top of the world, which they call it. The furthest they can go is, of course, base camp. But without climbing there, you have to take helicopters or planes. And with 150, they broke it into 2 groups. So 2 days. And the weather, if you have clouds, they can't land. So you have to take risks to see whether you can land. But they did that. They had to climb from platform to platform, reach the base camp. And they had the people bring up food and champagne. And they had to hike 2 weeks to get our supplies up there. But we flew in. We took the pictures, they got us jackets so that, the cold is actually very cold. They gave us stuff for our altitude sickness. They prepared for everything, including first aid. But imagine having breakfast, champagne breakfast at base camp with Himalayas behind you, like right here. That was the once in a lifetime experience they provided for the EO community.
But what was really special, and this was after the event, and we found out that the EO chapter, EO Nepal chapter, was only around 25 members. What that event did for them was bonded the chapter. Because when you work with each other, you really bond very, very quickly and very well. And that became life-changing for the chapter. And today they are growing by leaps and bounds. And what it impacted was, we brought everybody, and it helped the economy immensely. Right? Today is a model that's like the benchmark for an amazing event in Nepal. And they have since done that, and they work very closely with tourism and all that. And imagine a small group of 25 EOers impacting the entire country of Nepal that way. And today, everyone in the EO world is still talking about that. These are the experiences that are very unique. It's not about having a very glamorous dinner or very expensive dinner. It's about unique experiences. I remember a long time ago, we attended a university in Washington, D.C., hosted by the D.C. chapter. In the daytime, one of the events was they had 400 EOers. They divided us into around groups of 20 to 30. Each one went to one government agency. I went to the State Department. Some people went to CIA. Some went to FBI. Rosemary went to DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency.
And we had to Pentagon.
Some people walked into Pentagon and was hosted by the director. I was hosted together with the rest of the EOs in the State Department with the director of the State Department, who showed us around, and we had a learning event there. I thought, you can never top that. Money cannot buy, you cannot top that, right? In the nighttime, they did the same thing. Groups of 20 and 30, each one went to one ambassador's house for dinner in DC. That's an unheard of, and it's never been repeated since then. And that's the amazing kind of experiences and learning that we got. Imagine having a dinner with an ambassador from a different country in the state capital in Washington, D.C. That's amazing, right? So that's the kind of experiences that we've seen in the many years. And that's why we're so excited when we come here to Africa, when we see that same energy, and we want to share that. And I think even within the East African region, you guys have so much. I mean, it's amazing, Averu was amazing. You took us to the national park. I mean, that's beautiful to be able to land in the country. 30 minutes, you can be in the national park. That's amazing. And see wildlife eye to eye. That's amazing. Yeah. So those are the things that I think, in a nutshell, is what we're trying to share with, especially those who are new to EO.
You come at the right time, because we had 25 years of this, what worked, what didn't work. And your speed of learning will be so much faster than ours, because we grew with the organization. So all the resources that you have available to you now was not available to us then. So fast track. Very exciting.
Any other questions or?
Well, you have some dying questions?
I just want to talk from my brief experience as an EO member. I think the board has been a mini forum for me. And when Steve talked about the connectedness, this week was a very, very crazy week for me. I think my friend is about to get here. He was in hospital.
Okay.
So between hospitals and trying to find the president and trying to pick up the balls for the event, I really love my board mini forum. For me, I think it's a mini forum, so I'm very excited for what real forum is all about. The teamwork, the ability to pick up the balls that I dropped when I wasn't focusing. I remember I had to literally beg to get a private caravan to my lady, and the board was like, you know what, you need to be here. We don't care if he makes it or not. And I thought like, wow, I need such kind of clients. But just the focus on you as an individual, not even your business. It doesn't matter what the external factors are, but the connectedness and the love that you feel when you ask about, when you ask your question regarding opening up and the trust and the respect. Once I went through the forum training, it was, I mean, from day one we connected. The members, the EO members who were in the forum training as myself, the trust, it just kicks in. I don't know how, but just trust in the process. So that's my experience.
In 2 years ago in EO Malaysia board, the president, he's off the wall. He's a very passionate guy. He wanted his board at the beginning of his board year to learn one skill every board meeting, right? And the overall skill he wanted to teach all of them was scuba diving. Guess what? At the end, the last board meeting that they had at the end of his year, they had their board meeting underwater with scuba gear in our Kuala Lumpur aquarium.
With the sharks.
With the sharks swimming around, and half of the board has never even dived before. And they said, we're going to finish this year with a bang. And we're going to all learn how to do this scuba thing. That's just a small example. And that's the learning and trust and pushing, you know. And if you Google underwater board meeting EO on YouTube, you'll see them, bubbles and all. It's quite funny.
They had the boards to say approve, no, I agree, don't agree.
They're right. That was really funny.
You mentioned a couple of things that have happened where it's involving the children. But how much involved are the children as part of the EO? Because you've got spouse and you've got the member. But to me, like the most critical component of my family in my life is my children. So how do they get involved? And not only in terms of just with EO, but with improvement in their life.
Well, actually, just to share from my experience, like within my forum, we have a very common number 3. There are 3 kids. 5 of us, 8 members have 3 kids. And at that time, I had 3 pets. So Rosemary and I don't have any children, but I had three pets in my house. So I go like, hey, I also qualify for 3. So, but education, children's education is one of the number one things that we always share upon. And through the experience sharing, a lot of my forum members have gotten a lot of take home in terms of how to handle that. Okay, because we have had kids in the many age groups, and some are going away for boarding school, some are entering university. And so I think within the forum environment, that's where that engagement and that discussion happens, especially with children and family, right? There's also a very strong discussion on our parents, you know, how do we engage with our parents, and maybe more elderly parents, do they live with us or do we live with them? This become a very common theme and common topic within our forum experience. Of course, the next gen is actually something very new, because they realize that it's kind of like when the parents are entrepreneurs, it rubs off on the kids, and they want to do stuff together. So the idea of the next gen camp was virtually that. They wanted to see how to bring that out in the kids. So we had actually a EO Singapore trainer, he's a certified trainer, to spend that 3 days with the kids. And the parents were actually supporting the event, but the training, it was all about the kids. And amazing things happened. These are 10 to 15-year-olds. At the end of the entire camp in Kuala Lumpur, one little girl from Shanghai, Australia, she volunteered her father, okay, to host the next gen camp. Okay, so
The child volunteering.
the child volunteered the father, who's a EO member, and says, "Dad, can you run our next gen camp in our in our country?
volunteer.
I'll make sure we do that." That's amazing, right? And that's the kind of engagement. Of course, chapter retreats is another one. A lot of what we do, especially in Malaysia for chapter events, every year there's at least 3 or 4 events that involves the family and with children. The chapter retreat is a classic example. So that's how we engage the young people. But now with my EO, there's a lot of opportunity for engagement with the young people. And it all has to do with how the members take it on and say there's a need, let's do that. You know, that's one area.
In our chapter in Asia, because family is very important for us, we built it into our learning. So you have the learning chair here, feedback to him, you know, say that can we have more, maybe chapter retreat is one, but parenting is one, or if you want to have your kids have this kind of learning event, if not, champion yourself. I will bring in a particular speaker for kids, and I offer it to the board, and I will champion that, I will data that event. So volunteering is one thing, telling the board that you would like some, and they will build it into the...
Makes your job a little bit easier. You tell the spousal forum, you handle this event, okay?
Yeah.
And give them 4 months to plan for it.
All right, for us, we Christmas event is a social event, so we always involve the kids. So the kids will come and sing for us and things like that. Whatnot. And then you have the forum competing with each other. You give them a prize, but you know, you get the bonding going. In America, a lot of the chapters don't even do forum events at all. I mean, don't even do family events at all. So it's what you want, what you make out of it. You become the proactive member. Either champion it or do it.
There's an important learning for myself on that aspect besides those private things with the kids. The kids need time with the parents. And when I started EO 5 years ago, my business always tended to be out of control. Probably different from your guys, but mine always worked with dog at the tail, and I couldn't really spend the family time. And all that my forum was about in the first 2 years was to get the business under control. In your terms, you call that like work on your business and not in your business. So you're not covered in the problem, but you're working. And I made it a pretty much self-working machine, more or less, before I then finally sold it. And that was everything that I focused on for a couple of years, and you all helped me to do that. And then I had time for dinner, I had time for them, and so I think those two things go together very well.
Thank you for bringing that up. It's the check and balance. So when we come and update, and when our updates, our family updates sound different from your, I'm doing something wrong, you know, because that when you share each other what you're doing in your lives, that's where the check and balances come in. It says, ooh, I would like what he did, you know, with his family. I would like that relationship with the daughter. So it's like, what did you do? And then, okay, then you go and do it yourselves, you know. That's where you get the ideas.
Once you joined the forum, so you had now perhaps a different social group to the earlier one before you joined EO. How was the other side impacted?
For me, I did not have that kind of circle. My friend circle was not the ones that I would just share how I feel or things like that. It was purely get together, have meals together, because we were classmates, because we met somewhere. Kiwanis was another community that we were very engaged in, but we went there, all that we did was fundraisers or projects and things like that, so very different. This was the first community where I felt connected, I felt they understood me, I felt belong, and whatever I do is like, I felt safe, I could be myself.
Yes.
I'm not a Leo, I'm a spouse.
Okay.
But it's interesting that you talk about how you spend so much time with the people that you're in a forum with. So what I spend so much time with the people that you're in a forum with. So what I want to know is, what's the allocation process or what's the selection process of the people in your forum? Because it seems as though, whilst you don't judge people that you're going to be in a forum with, you don't even know who you're with, but it's human nature, like you say. If I'm if I don't feel chemistry with someone,
Okay.
you're not going to give them that much time. Therefore, if you're in a forum with somebody who you're not getting something from, wouldn't that defeat the purpose of the forum?
Well, that's because you have expectations beforehand, right? Okay, when you go for forum training, that's one where you get that expectation level, what it means to be committed at the same level. When our best practices is basically that conflict. So trust the forum chair, which is Nicholas, right? So he will do a matrix. So if I'm in property, I will not be in the property. No other forum mate will be in the property. So if I'm willing to share my issues, he's not going to tell the whole world. And anyway, you're bound by confidentiality. But to make it safer, I don't have industry secrets that I'm worried about somebody in the table would use it for their own advantage. So same with relationship. You will never know because you could be ex-girlfriend to some so-and-so who was at the table, or she was my sister-in-law, or she betrayed me when she was my classmate, or she's the brother of so-and-so. Anything that would affect the safe environment of the group, we remove them. So the fact that you're familiar with somebody, you like somebody, okay, we tried, Malaysia chapter tried it, where we went out seeking for people we like and put it in, and it doesn't work out. The stranger we are, the more interesting it becomes, the more, it's trusting the process, because once you do the forum retreat exercises, those barriers will break down. So I would say trust the process. I didn't like any of my forum mates when I started, truthfully, because I was judging, I was giving names to each and every, oh, this one very loud, this one, I cannot imagine myself spending my, like sharing my life and bearing my soul with them. And yet I do that today. And so if I look back, it's like, what an amazing journey. It took me 2 years to break that barrier. 2 years. You have to build relationship. Like any other relationship, you have to build it.
That's the reason why the 2 checks is, one is there's no conflict in business, the first test. The second test is you're not a relative, or like let's say Rosemary and her brother, he's also an EO, they will not be in the same forum because you will not feel comfortable with somebody you know or family related. So these 2 tests actually has over time become a very good judge. And what is most interesting in the forum experience is that imagine you never ever, let's say somebody that you absolutely would never imagine that you would be friends with, right? Imagine one day this person could give you a perspective that you have never ever seen, right? Imagine having mirrors all around you, and these 2 mirrors at the back you have never ever looked at. That person whom you probably may be your greatest enemy, whatever, one day he can give you a perspective that you never imagined will come from. That's the reason why forum works that way, right? And that's actually the true test of what makes a great forum. Right?
On the personal development side, what I found was it helped me become less judgmental. It has helped me to become more open to people's perspectives. It helped me on the personal side how I see the world, and it helped me with my business.
But that one thing, because the forum, also the group constellation is really dear to me. The forum is the core of EO. And then there's one thing behind it. I'm a very, very passionate kitesurfer. And the passionate kitesurfer from Japan is closer to me than anybody else in Germany. If he's not kitesurfing. So an entrepreneur happens to be closer to all other entrepreneurs, much closer than any other person, because they have such a similar DNA, and that's what we are looking for. So to make things work and to go, like, if there's a border, just cross it and all that stuff. That makes us all so similar in some respect, while at the same time being so different and diverse.
Yeah.
And when my forum started, there was some 2-3 people I really liked who were close to me, and then there were one person I really felt, wow, that's really far out from me. And when we still started it, the people that were like-minded, I mean, I know also already how I know, or how I think. I don't need that perspective again, but the other guy, he in every single forum meeting, I'm so glad I didn't kick him out, because he really enriched my life. So it's
But
the diversity from different perspectives, that's what the forums are about. We just want to have different perspectives.
we see this in spousal forum especially. That's why we keep it very open. It may be that forum is not, some people may not be ready, In fact, when we do a general introduction for spousal forum, we keep it open. We say, try it. If you don't like it, it's okay too, no problem, right? And we have done that. And there are some people who say, okay, I'm going to sit it out. But we have also, over the years, found that some people come back to it and say, now I'm ready for forum. Yeah. After, in fact, we had a new forum just founded, and 2 of the members, they've been in EO for nearly 10 years. Their spouses said, okay, we're going to join this time. We want to be in this 3rd forum, and they did. So that was a good time. Maybe it could be that their timing, their kids, they're more active with other things. So it's fine too. That's the beauty of how we set up, right? And
it comes with the responsibility of being committed to it. So if you commit to it, you will see the fruits. I can assure you, you will see the fruits.
Has there been a situation of violation of trust?
Oh yes,
yes.
definitely.
No, I was just going to say, it seems to me that, I mean, if you really commit to EO, it's very much a guide to how you live your life. And obviously you'll become very close confidants of the other people in your forum. Now, you know, it's great, you bring the spouses in to it, and there's various ways that they can get in. But do you find that there's sort of certain resentment sometimes within that because that you know, you've got such a tight knit, you know, community that's kind of guiding you in terms of your life, both personal as well as business.
Right.
Is that sometimes an issue? And did you find that you spend a lot of time outside of forum, you know, having dinner with some spouses would be involved? So.
I don't resent that he is the only guy in the forum. I would say we are unique because we did the forum training together. I have many, in my trainings, I've met many members whose spouses, you know, were not involved at all from the beginning, and you get that resentment that you spend so much time with your forum group. What about me? You know, aren't I supposed to be the most important person in your life? You know, the my part, the myself part. You see, when we are crazy and we don't know where to go to and where to unload and where to whatnot, it's very difficult to come home and still be a wife. And that's what I found EO helped me gain that perspective, not only in forum but all in the learning, you know, especially all the couple communication stuff. Interestingly, I resented him when he focused so much on his business that he forgotten about me. There was one time where he actually did that. But with the learning, you know, the love language that we found, and it's just communication. So we didn't know how to communicate our hearts to one another. And EO helped break that. So we learned how to do that, and I stopped resenting him. The fact that behind every successful person, and Dr. Manu says it's always the, you know, the spouse or the other half, and I truly believe that. Because when I was okay, I came home, I was a better wife. If I didn't, then he would try to fix me. And you know, gals, we don't like to be fixed, right? We just want to be heard. So he learned that. He learned that along the way. So in that sense, that balance, that is somehow, because of the check and balances, because I hear each other's story, I learned that along the way. And that was the fast track learning that I'm talking about. So if not, we would suffer a few years of this resentment, fight. And then we may not be here today. We could have lost our businesses. I nearly went bankrupt with my business. So I would not know where it would have taken us. But because I think he had his spousal group, he was very supportive of me. So he probably, I'm imagining, but he didn't tell me. I'm imagining he went to the ladies in his group and said, my wife is going through this stage. Is that normal? You know, so what do I do? So he probably got tons of ideas. So you can share from your point. But that's what I got. As an entrepreneur, I needed that. I needed to be strong myself, or else I will be a burden to him. Now, is he strong enough to carry me? I don't know. But because we both had that opportunity to learn from this platform, I think that helped us sail through.
And I think the momentum of a forum, like you asked the question, has anybody been kicked up due to breaching of confidentiality? Yes, there has been, but it also depends on the level of breach, right? It's actually the forum decides the guidelines within the forum. With the training and the understanding of forum itself, the group decides how the group is governed, right? So of course, confidentiality being one of the cornerstones of the important aspects of forum. So the group actually decides when they meet, how long they meet, how they deal with confidentiality breach, how they deal with, let's say, finances, especially when the group goes out or when they go for retreats, how the group conducts itself in terms of learning, or which are the areas you want to focus on, right? So the group actually is a very powerful thing. They decide together. And that's the reason why when they go on retreats, that's where they become more closer, because at the retreats, there's a lot of potential exercises they can do together, right, to bring the group closer together. Like the lifeline, the sharing of lifeline, you can't do it during a normal forum meeting because it's very tough. You need just more time together. So an annual retreat with your forum members is very, very good for that. So in a way, the group governs. Like my group, we decided Wednesday afternoons was when we're going to meet. And we have stayed like that for the past, 8-9 years like that. Okay? And it worked very well for us. For another group, maybe they like to meet in the nighttime or maybe on the weekend. Right?
It's flexible, but in terms of breaches, and in our constitution, you get to write it together. So even if we wanted to leave the group, we had to do exit presentations. Confidentiality, we have this conflict resolution, how to do it. So you learn that in forum. You can also apply it in your family as well as your work. We learn conflict resolutions. And when you go through the process and it cannot be done, you involve the whole group. So you start at exactly like your family, right? So if you're mad at your mother-in-law, you go to your mother-in-law and speak it out. But on a normal basis, as humans, we go and talk to sister-in-law, we go and complain to the husband, and the whole family knows about it already. So what I learned in conflict resolution, one-on-one. Nip it in the bud, right? Nip it in the bud. That's what I learned. Last time I didn't know all of these things. I went around the world, complained to the whole world before I got to the problem. So now I realize that tool and that tip was so important, so useful. So I did that. So we do that conflict resolution. If it cannot be, that's why we say don't do business with one another. So I'm in partnership with you. Let's say I'm in partnership with you, right? And we start this hotel business in Kenya, in Nairobi. And we're in the same forum, in a regional forum, let's say international forum. And suddenly he disappointed me. But he's in my forum, so how does he sit at the same table and I'm having a problem with him? So you can't have that, right? There's no longer a safe environment. But if it do happen that we do have a conflict, I'm supposed to go to him and say, I have an issue. So we talk it out. If we don't, then we bring in the moderators as a mediator. The moderator cannot fix it, the forum decides for us. And in your constitution, once the forum decides, your fate is already in their hands. So when you went in, you wrote the constitution, means you agree to it. So once they decide that, sorry Rosemary, you are the one at fault, you have to leave now. Or they'll forgive you and says, okay, one more time, you're out. All right. So it's up to you. It's all relationship. A forum is a relationship. The constitution just makes it easier for us to kind of say, what are we expected of one another? That's it. Makes it very clear. We can only apply that in our businesses and our families. So much easier.
I think we'll close
Yeah. Maybe the last one.
Okay,
yeah.
last question.
Sorry, I just want to know, you seem to create this amazing sort of EO family, the forum family for both the staffs and the actual EO member. But what happens how do you strike the balance between your non-EO friends and your non-EO social life and your non-EO family?
You decide. It's up to you. It's your choice. Once you get into it, you kind of make your own decision. For us, because of the nature of the relationship that was built, we chose to mix around with people who encourages us, edifies us, and understands us. And we ended up with our EO community. And then the rest are still friends, but the the fact that, you know, when I go to my classmates and I share something, they kind of very easily says, oh, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? You know, and you immediately feel, oh, what did I do wrong? Did I make a wrong decision? You know that feeling? Okay, in forum, we are taught how not to say stuff like that. And in among our friends, that's what we need, the support, the encouragement, the edify.
I see that happening because Rosemary is with her church cell group, and she's actually the youngest in her ladies cell group. I see her practicing some of the learnings that she had done in EO with the ladies, not to be judgmental, to speak from experience, right? And this become very good tools as you interface with your existing community, existing group of friends, and or even your classmates or whatever organizations you are still currently with. These are the learnings that add to the relationship rather than deduct from it. But at the end of the day, I think since we are tight for time, I know. I think in a way, to sum it all up, as a spouse of EO, it's been an amazing experience. I mean, everything in terms of the learnings, the events, of course, the wonderful people that we meet. I think at the end of the day, I think it made, for me, a better husband, a better business person, and a better friend to a lot of my EO members, who are friends, very dear friends of mine today, all around the world. I think at a nutshell, that's actually my experience been so far in the 15 years we've been involved in EO.
Alright, so my name is Akshay.
Oscar Kino.
My name is Laura Akunga.
Dylan Shah.
Ayo Stockman.
My name is Neil Shah.
Dailesh Savani.
Nicholas. Imran Jamal.
Shiha.
My name is Shri.
I am Mehul Savani.
Alex Andrews.
I'm Kat Barry, not chocolate, but the other one. I adopt little baby elephants.
I'm very passionate about art.
I love my beer. You can actually see it.
I play golf.
I like messing around in the kitchen.
I love to play football. I'm very passionate about it. I play about 3 or 4 times a week when I can.
I'm really passionate about the kitesurfing.
I love horses.
I just do not fear traveling to any place in the world, right up to Somalia as well.
I love technology. Anybody who meets me, comes across me, they will always find that I'm using something to sort of be on the cutting edge.
Watching people and learning more about them.
So I go kitesurfing in the waves of Dar es Salaam, on the waves of Zanzibar.
I love polo. I'm trying to get back to horse riding and polo.
One of my favorite hobbies is paragliding. It takes you all over Kenya. You can go to the most beautiful places, sit on the most beautiful hills, and then you can fly like a bird, when you're ready to start flying.
I love skiing. I fractured my shoulder on the first day.
I ended up making a film. Now I'm also trying to make a couple of documentaries and a TV serial.
Modeled it? And yes.
Last week I partied with Pharrell.
Everybody get up.
One word, wow.
So many great entrepreneurs.
Beautiful learning.
Inspirational stories.
Amazing experience.
Very interesting.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Tan from Malaysia, from EO Malaysia. One thing cool about me, I drive big cars. I love four-wheel drives, and my dream was to drive the Dakar Rally. So if I have a chance, you ask me to drive a bus, drive anything, I'm willing to drive anything huge. Today's event was good. I felt I answered some questions and how we can benefit and get member value from EO. So I feel good that the members here in EO East Africa is ready and ready to take advantage of the global classroom.